Hare Hare. Everybody, a little louder. जोर से बोलिए।
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I welcome all of you to His Holiness Chandramauli Swami daily class. Thank you very much for joining. We are continuing on Shrimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, which is Punishment and Reward of Kali. And today we will be continuing with verse 9. Hare Krishna, Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, Maharaj, with your permission, I will share this verse, which is 1.17.9. Over to you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mausara Beyatra Suchom Vedite Visalambayam Marodim Amba Badram Te Kalanam Mai Sastari. O son of Surabi, you need not lament no longer. There is no need to fear this low-class Sudra. And, O mother cow, as long as I am living as the ruler and subduer of the envious men, there's no cause for you to cry. Everything will be good for you. Purport. Protection of bulls and cows and other animals can be possible only when there is a state ruled by the executive head like Maharaj Pariksit. Maharaj Pariksit addressed the cow as mother, for he is a cultured, twice-formed Kshatriya king. Surabi is the name of the cows which exist in the spiritual planets and are especially reared by Lord Krishna himself. As men are made after the form and features of the Supreme Lord, so also the cows are made after the form of features of the Surabi cows in the spiritual kingdom. In the material world, the human society gives all protection to human beings, but there is no law to protect the descendants of Surabi, who can give all protection to men by supplying the miracle food, milk. But Maharaj Pariksit and the Pandavas were fully conscious of the importance of the cow and bull, and they were prepared to punish the cow killer with all chastisement, including death. There has sometimes been agitation for the protection of the cow, but for want of pious executive heads and suitable laws, the cows and the bulls are not given protection. The human society should recognize the importance of the cow and the bull, and thus give all protection to these important animals, following the footsteps of Maharaj Pariksit. For protecting the cows in Brahminical culture, who is very kind to the cows and Brahmins, Goldamani Hitayacha, will be pleased with us and will bestow upon us. Rio, please. Umagyan Timirandasya Jana Jana Salakaya Chaksun Tamyena Asmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ma Om Vishnu Padai Dhangar Bhutani Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Visacharine Anchakalpa Charubhescha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Paditanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hari Rama, Hari Rama, Rama Rama, Hari Hari. So, it is explained that society will flourish when there is people live by religious principles, or what you might say, Brahminical culture. Brahminical culture is that culture by which one can execute their needs, personal needs in this world, and at the same time pursue clearly, with the help of support of the society, the goal of life, which is to inquire into the absolute truth and to make progress in that way. But Brahminical culture cannot be established unless there is the protection of the cows and the bulls. That is mentioned in this section a little bit later in the 17th chapter. You'll see it'll come up more how important these two principles are for the upliftment of human society. Brahminical culture, cow protection. There's a third one, and that is worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the cow is a very integral part of human culture, and she is also a very necessary part of human development. She provides the miracle food, as is mentioned here. It just doesn't say milk and food, it says miracle food, milk, where one can get this nourishment from this, we call it liquid religiosity. It's another name for milk. It's called liquid religiosity. It is such a valuable foodstuff that there are people, sages and others, who have simply lived on milk alone. Milk contains all nutritional values. And for those who practice spiritual life, it is necessary in order to understand more clearly and deeply spiritual knowledge. Therefore, it says that milk nourishes the finer brain tissues in the human being. So this food, we have a movement in the world today where people against drinking milk. Some of it has some moral value to it, and other of it is just some idea that milk is not healthy. The moral part of it is that people don't want the cow to be killed, and so in order not to buy into the milk industry, they don't take anything connected with milk. And that's fine. That's also good. But our solution is to keep cows under the care of the devotees and take that milk, and these cows are being treated as most important part of the society, and then take that milk and use it for various things. Like milk is used for worshiping the deity, just like today here in Sridham Mayapur, we had the Panchatattva Abhishek of the big deities. Happens every 4 years. And today was the anniversary of the 4th year. So, and there was gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons, unlimited amounts of milk being poured upon the deities. And so it's one of the substances, and of course milk, ghee is also being used. That's coming from milk. And then you have yogurt, which is just milk changed slightly into a thicker substance. And you have, so just in the Abhishek, you have, and then of course, there are certain Abhisheks that we call them Panchagavya, where we bathe the deity with cow dung and cow urine. These are the 5 substances. And so how valuable is the cow? That's why she is addressed here by Maharaj Parikshit as mother, not simply another animal within the category of animals. She's outstanding in her position within human culture, as she provides so much. There is a long, and I use the word long, list of benefits that one can derive from the cow. There's so many. But here we have an example of the introduction of the age of Kali. And it starts, you can see how it's connected here, how Kali Yuga starts by killing the cow or exploiting the cow here. And so we see that throughout the world today. All around the world, there are slaughterhouses where thousands of cows every day are destroyed, along with bulls. Western culture, so-called Western culture, doesn't see any need for the bulls at all. So they kill them right from birth and use their body to sell various types of meat products. So we live in a society that is quite animalistic. That's a nice word, actually, barbarian. It's a barbarian culture because they don't understand the value of human life, and especially the most valuable part of human life, the protection of God's gift to human culture, the cow. In the Manu Samhita, it explains that killing a cow is equal to killing 2 men. So you can see from that statement, Manu Samhita is the law books given in the Vedas by Manu. Manu is one of the forefathers which sets the standard for the rules and regulations for every section of society according to a certain time period. Well, Manu Samhita makes it clear. You kill a cow, you get twice as much sinful reactions as you would if you were to kill a human being. Sounds a little fantastic, but it is not when you understand the value of a cow and how she's meant to be protected. Therefore, she's called mother. We give protection to our mother. We honor our mother. And when she gets old, we take care of her needs so she can finish her last days somewhat peacefully and happy. So that is the term mother. It applies here to the cows. But we have a society that, and the results of killing of cows means no one is peaceful. You can't have peace in society. They're making, Prabhupada said, they make so many programs for peace. They have peace agencies, Greenpeace, this peace, that's peaceful society, let's have peace, let's stop war, but it's impossible if you're killing the cows because you will get a reaction for that, which will cause wars to manifest. And this is explained that by killing the cows wholesale, you're creating very horrific karma. And that horrific karma comes out onto the human society where wars are the result of such horrific karma. So you can see here. So everyone wants, every good person, at least those who are intelligent and inclined towards human culture, they want a leader that can give protection. And as Prabhupada says, many countries, they give protection to the human culture, but they exploit the animals. But the animals are also citizens, because citizens means one who was born in that particular land. They are a citizen of that land. And therefore, they also have rights to live and to engage in activities. But we see, because society is governed by low-class men who have no understanding of values in life, who are no better than criminals, dacoits, in the name of political leaders, and others who work under them. And if you wanted to make a legislation to close the slaughterhouses, you would be very much opposed by the meat industry, the meat packing industry, many other organizations that benefit, at least financially, from this killing of cows. We couldn't do it. These industries are so powerful. So what you need is a ruler who understands spiritual value and the value of the cow, especially. Just like in Western society, we see people love their dogs very much. There are so many programs to take care of the dog. They have hospitals, they have doctors, they even have clothing manufacturers, so many other amenities that are being provided by the dog. The dog is very much a part of human Western culture. Of course, in India, dogs are also appreciated, but they're not put on the same level as dogs in Western society, whereas the dogs don't enter into people's houses because they are considered to be unclean, and therefore they cannot come into the house. But they're given protection by the outside society, at least in some cases. Unfortunately, it's not up to the standard also. We have one program here in Mayapur where one very compassionate devotee takes care of stray cows and stray dogs. He takes them off the streets, gives them a place to stay, and gives them a new life, and takes care of these animals very nicely. And he is a funding agency. He collects donations based on this project, and he has many, many dogs and cows. So we don't discriminate that we should exploit the dog and, give protection to the cow. All animals have a right to live. But in Western society, they think the dog is the most important, and the cow is just food for people's greedy, lusty desires. So that's unfortunate, and unless that is stopped, there will never be peace in society. No one can talk about peace or even think about creating peace in the world unless that is stopped, no matter who's the ruler. The cow is so, as Krishna, as it says here, in the spiritual world, there is the form of the cow called Surabi. Surabi, I remember when I first joined the Hare Krishna movement in New Vrindavan. We were just beginning the farm community, and this is just a little bit before my time in New Vrindavan. But the devotees had acquired 4 cows, and they wanted to name the cows. because we give names to each cow. Every cow has their own personal name. Now, every bull has his own name, just like every human being has a name. And so we couldn't decide what to name the cow. So we wrote to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, we have 4 cows. Please give us names for these 4 cows. And Prabhupada wrote back, Surabi. And that's all he wrote. And then we were a little bewildered. He only gave one name. We have 4 cows. So we wrote back to Prabhupada asking him for 4 names. And Prabhupada said yes, Surabi 1, Surabi 2, Surabi 3, Surabi 4. That was Prabhupada. So he was seeing all cows in this material world as prototypes of the eternal cows in the spiritual world, as it says here, who are personally taken care of by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You'll see many photos and drawings and pictures of Krishna with cows. He's herding cows, he's playing with cows. Every day he goes out in the morning and he calls the names of all the cows. He knows every cow's name by heart, and he calls each one of them by their personal name, and then their ears perk up when they hear their name called by Krishna, and they start running towards Krishna, and Krishna greets all the cows as they come. That's a very beautiful display of affection between Krishna and the cows. And Surabi also means one who can provide everything. There was one particular cow that was owned by one great sage, Vasishta Muni. Vasishta Muni had this cow that he would use for his worship, and she could provide anything he wanted simply by him chanting prayers and mantras to the cow, and she would provide whatever it was. So one time, Vishwamitra Muni, who wasn't a Muni at that time, he was the king in the local area. He was a powerful king, and he came with all of his armies, and he came to the place of Vishishta. Vishishta greeted him very nicely and welcomed him, and Vishwamitra Muni requested, please feed all of my men. So for Vishishta, that wasn't a problem. So he came to the cow and chanted mantras, and the cow provided a big feast for thousands of soldiers. And Vishwamitra Muni was really amazed to see this cow, and he was so happy. But then he got a little greedy, and he thought, well, I'm the king, I should own this cow. So before leaving, he said to Vishishta, you should give me your cow. And Vishishta said, well, she is everything to me, all of my worship, all of my puja, everything I need to live is given to me by her. So I will just ask for something else and I will grant it. Vishwamitra Muni was very arrogant and very, adamant. And so he decided to take the cow anyway without getting a permission. So he grabbed Surabi and he was trying to pull her away. The cow looked at Vishishta in poor eyes, saying, help. And Vishishta immediately chanted mantras. And from the body of the cow came all of these ferocious, powerful soldiers. They came from the udder of the cow and they just decimated and destroyed the entire army of Vishwamitra Muni. Vishwamitra Muni was devastated. His whole army was destroyed. He wasn't. And then he left hanging his head in shame. Of course, the story goes on after that he was thinking, well, Kshatriya Tejas is powerful, but Brahma Tejas is more powerful. So then he gave up his position as a Kshatriya and tried to become a Brahmin. That's a long story. But the point was, Vashishti had this magic cow, and she could provide anything he needed. And if you live with a cow and you take care of her nicely, taking care of a cow is not simply accepting her milk. Taking care of the cow means each cow requires at least 1 acre of grazing ground per cow, plus whatever else she needs to live happily. Proper food, everything there, wintertime protection, whatever. If you take care of the cow very nicely, she will provide everything you need, because she's very sensitive to human culture. She knows exactly what's going on around him. And if you're very loving and caring for the cow, she responds in the same way. And if you are cruel and very exploitive, she becomes fearful and she withdraws her gifts to human society. Just like those who keep cows just for milk, just trying to get as much milk as they can, as long as the cow can provide. And then when the cow can't ever provide anymore, they send it to the slaughterhouse. But she knows that. She knows she's going to be killed. She's living in fear. So when they milk that cow being in a fearful consciousness, she secretes within the milk a very unhealthy hormone. And when people drink that milk, they take that unhealthy hormone along with it. And therefore, people declare milk is unhealthy. It is for those who exploit the cow. It is for those who exploit the cow. But for those who take care of the cow, she becomes the best friend of the entire dynasty, family, country, world. She is so cow protection is really a cow care. We don't call it cow protection, we call it cow care. Is the principle by which the medical society develops. If you're trying to develop a peaceful and prosperous society without taking care of the cows, it will never work. It's not possible. That's the prelude to a peaceful society, protection, care of the cows. So we see here how Maharaj Parikshit, he is so, strong. He said, you don't have to lament anymore. Before he said, "Oh, son of Swami." He said, there's no need to fear this low-class Sudra. As long as I am the ruler, I will subdue such envious men. Everything will be good for you. So this is what's lacking in human society rulers who actually have qualifications to give protection and care to not only humans, but to all forms of life. That is their inviolable duty. They must do it, otherwise they fall short of actually being qualified rulers. And then they exploit rather than rule, and you see how within the world today, rulers come in, they last a year, 2, sometimes 4 years, and then they're kicked out and somebody else comes in, and it's the same cycle over and over again because they're all sinful. But it says that the leader in society the executive head, the king, takes on 1/6 of the karma of the society. So if the society is pious, he gets 1/6 of that piety for his own personal upliftment. If people are sinful, he gets 1/6 of the sinful reactions. And you see many of our leaders, at least I know in the United States, after their term of office, they're finished. Their whole life is like over. They undergo so many health and then they die right after that. Because they don't understand how great a position it is to rule a society. Because the king or the executive head is supposed to be the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in taking care of the citizens. If they fail in that, just like they say, what does they say? What's that saying that goes? The more you know and don't follow, the more you suffer. Just like, for example, in the family, a younger child will be given a little more leniency by the father than the older child, because the younger child doesn't know so much and requires more protection. The older child, supposed to know what is the father's will and follow and be an asset to the family. And if they're not, they suffer more than the younger child who doesn't know. So, yeah, that's why we are, as a society, we are preaching Krishna consciousness to all sectors of society, trying to help people understand what is their position and how to use their position for two reasons: to benefit others and to move people towards the goal of life. Just like it says in the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, Rishabdev. He says, don't become mother, don't become father, don't become executive head, ruler, leader, don't become a guru unless you are qualified to deliver your progeny children, disciples, from the cycle of birth and death. It's a great responsibility to be a leader because others' livelihood is in your hands. So it says, that's why it says that those who fail, they go to the darkest regions of hellish life. Those who don't have position and they are sinful, they suffer. But those who are in a position of leadership in any category, if they don't take care properly of those, they suffer even greater. So it's a great responsibility. So we have Maharaj Pariksit here. He is the ideal king. He's not going to tolerate a miscreant abusing a cow and a bull. He's going to take action. Okay, we'll stop there.
Thank you, Maharaj, for so nice instructions on protection of cows and bulls. Dear devotees, if you have any questions, comments, realizations, please unmute yourself. You can also type in chat window, and also request devotee to please switch on your video if possible. That gives a nice way to interact with Maharaj. There is one question, Maharaj. Okay. Silpesh Prabhu, fine. So Silpesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances or wish God. Maharaj, yesterday's class with Sri Devi Mataji, the question came up in yesterday's class with Sri Devi Mataji, why there isn't more cow protection happening in Mayapur. And she said, that's the question we don't know. Just wondering if you had any ideas about that.
I don't think this is a topic of the discussion right here because it's too complex. Obviously, there is some need for improvement, but that's all I can say, really. I don't know any of the intricacies of what's going on, nor do I want to criticize anything that's going on because I'm not in that position. And at the same time, there are different people who have different visions of what's happening here in Mayapur. So that needs to be done, that needs to be worked out here by the leadership here. But we can say for one thing, there needs to be some improvement. That's all I can really say.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Mhm. Mhm.
There is one question, Maharaj, on chat by Rishabh Prabhu. He's saying, Dear Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I had a thought, if Krishna does not remember a name of one of his cow, will anyone else be able to remember it, as Krishna is the source of all knowledge? Of course, we know it is impossible for Krishna to really forget anything in material or spiritual world, but just wondering.
Well, the answer is he doesn't forget anything. Forgetfulness is a symptom of human society. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, he knows past, present, and future. If he appears to forget, that's a particular Leela he's playing in order to make another point, but he won't do that as a symptom of forgetfulness. You may forget him, but he won't forget you. Don't worry.
Good. Thank you, Maharaj. So while other devotee ask any questions, Maharaj, I have one. What was Prabhupada's view on devotee entering into politics? Because we should have a nice head of a state and nice politicians, but that's completely missing. So any opinion from Prabhupada, Maharaj?
Well, as Prabhupada started his movement in the United States, he created this In God We Trust party, which was going to run for the presidency of the United States. And so there were some candidates. I think there was one particular person, I forgot his name. He's my godbrother. He was in that position to run for the United States. But after some time, Prabhupada disbanded the whole program. The advantage that we had is that we could propagate our philosophy through the political arena by running in that way, so people would hear our philosophy. And Prabhupada's vision was, if we continue to do this, and eventually we'll take over the government. We continue on year after year. And Prabhupada had a change of mind at one point. He thought, we're wasting too much time and energy in this area. And even if we do win, it'll be different. We won't be able to do much of a change because society is not ruled by a person who is the head of state. Society is ruled by corporations. Corporations rule the society. There's a corporate entity that makes policy through government agencies, which influences all activities. So Prabhupada could understand, he pulled back from that, and so he could use his energy and resources in a way that he felt would be more beneficial. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. Sakshi Mataji, you have question? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. Sorry Maharaj, I was late for the lecture today, so I couldn't come watch the whole lecture. But I have a realization to share. Yesterday, I was reading your book, Krishna's Way Natural Living, and particularly that chapter, Sorry Pleading for Mother Cow. And I read how reciprocative cows are, and you don't need any psychiatrist to get rid of your anxieties. Simply, the presence of the cows are enough. So, with the same consciousness, I went to the temple today and I went to the cows. Initially, one cow, she was fearful, but when she realized that I'm not gonna hurt her, she felt comfortable. And as I was patting her down, she felt very calm and relaxed, and she was reciprocating with me. And later on, I felt really peaceful just by their association. So yes, this really happens. The cow's presence is really necessary, and I simply felt really good with their association. So yes, that's I wanted to share.
Yeah, thank you for bringing up that point.
Hare Krishna.
In fact, in the world today, and the devotees are doing it too, they call it cow cuddling. It's a program that people go and they pay money, and it's mostly children who have some psychological problems or just some behavioral problems or whatever, and their parents take them. They pay some money and the kids stay with the cows like that, and after some time the kid comes away and he's different. We have one program I know, maybe I don't know, maybe we have more, but there's one in Ypsilanti in Michigan. We have a program there where we have a cow cuddling program. We invite people to come and they pay $40 for an hour and they stay with the cow like that. The secular society does the same thing, but they charge like sometimes like $500 to $1,000 an hour. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up because yeah, the cows make people peaceful. If you stay with cows. Yeah, if you're having marital problems, go see a cow. Everything will start to work out nicely. Cows are best marriage counselors. They don't have to say anything. So yeah, there are so many amenities. That's one of them, that the cow, her personal presence is, she's very, very sweet-natured, the cow, if she's treated properly. If she's not, she picks up on that and then she becomes a little disturbed. That's why sometimes people say cows are sometimes wild, because they're not treated properly. And so then they rebel in that same way. Thank you, Sakshi. That was a nice point.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. All by your mercy, I read the book. It is really nice. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Really wonderful point. A wonderful realization. I think it also endorses that how Gau Mata and cows are important. So yes, just one related point, Maharaj, on the chat. Sorry, Shridevi Mataji, if it's okay with you. Again from Rishabh Prabhu, but very much related to the point which you raised or answered in the last question. He's saying, One technical question. Should we accept cow from Karmi slaughterhouses and farms to our farms? Mostly such cows are aggressive, not trusting humans. It would probably take few years before they become integrated and calm down.
Well, I can give you an example. I had some film. It's a 6-minute film. There was 6 cows that broke out from a slaughterhouse in St. Louis. And they broke out and they were roaming around the streets. And then they were trying to round up the cows. There was one cow who took charge of protecting the other 5 cows. And she was making sure the other 5 weren't getting, caught. And I don't know, maybe it was a bull that was doing it, but can't kill it. There was 6 cows. And it took them 4 hours to round up these 6 cows. And the police were there and everything. Finally, they brought them back to the slaughterhouse. One lady who had a farm, she became concerned. She wanted those 6 cows. So she applied to the slaughterhouse and they said, well, you have to pay so much money. And if you don't do it within a week, then these cows will be slaughtered. So she raised the money and got these 6 cows, put them on her farm. And then she describes, and you can see it in the film, how the cows were fearful. But by very carefully showing affection and care and not agitating the cow in any way, gradually the cows started to change. And gradually they became very friendly and approachable like that. So yeah. They're similar to people, in the same way. If a person is going to be killed or abused, and that's their experience, they're going to be defensive, they're going to be aggressive. But then it takes time for that person to change when they meet someone who is not like that. So yeah, it's possible. And that's a nice example. It's on film, actually. It's very sweet film. And how she took care of it. And that lead cow remained the lead cow even while on the farm. She was still taking care of the other cows. I'm not sure if it was a bull or a cow. But anyway, very nice finish to a scenario. She saved the lives of those 6 cows and gave them a new life.
Is this video, Maharaj?
I don't know. I can't tell.
News about these 6 cows that had escaped a slaughterhouse and they were running through the streets of St. Louis. You could see the terror.
Sorry, I think I have not switched on the audio. Sorry.
That's it.
That's the one, Maharaj? Okay.
Yeah, you got it. You want to go ahead and play it if you want.
Okay, sure.
Watching the news about these 6 cows that had escaped a slaughterhouse and they were running through the streets of St. Louis. You could see the terror in their eyes. They had nowhere to go and no one to help them, but they were desperate to live. There was one clip where Chico, who's the leader of these cows, was keeping the authorities behind a tree so his brothers could get out and run out of that area. It was very deliberate that they were trying to keep each other alive and find some sort of safety. At the end of the day, they all got rounded up and sent back to the slaughterhouse. It was eating me up. I couldn't sleep. I wanted there desperately to be a good outcome. There was a small group of the community that was raising freedom money to convince the slaughterhouse owner to release them to a sanctuary. The owner said that he would wait for 4 days. We jumped on a red-eye flight and got there in time. When I first met them, they were absolutely terrified. They didn't know who to trust. They didn't know what was going to happen to them. We were trying to decide what to do with them. Do we find a home for them? Do we ship them to our California location? I looked back at my husband and said, they have come with a story to share with the world and we have to help them. So we had to open a gentle barn in St. Louis, Missouri for Chico and his brothers.
You gotta go
I remember loading them up. It had to be slow, and it had to be their choice to step up onto that trailer and to choose this gentle life that we were offering them. The loading process took a while, but that gained me a little bit of trust. For the first 6 months, I would just sit in their pasture every single day. In the beginning, they would run away from me and stay as far away as they could. But as the months unfolded, they stopped running and then stopped walking away from me altogether.
I love you so much. You love you so much. It's true.
I'll never forget that first day where they kind of just all laid down. I was like, oh my God, I've been invited in. This is the beginning of their healing. It was a very slow process, and it allowed them to really forgive the past and walk away from it and learn that humans can be kind and the world can be good. Chica was absolutely the leader from day one and still is today. I knew that in order to get anybody's trust, I had to get Chico's trust. I will never forget that day where he took a cookie from my hand. There was a look in his eye that was softer than it ever had been. I couldn't stop crying. That's when I knew he was going to be okay. Watching their journey has been such an incredible honor. Now, these cows have recovered and they've turned into cow hug therapists. They make people smile. They work with people with special needs, people that are suffering domestic violence and trauma of their own. Such a beautiful point to watch someone who came full circle and is now healing humanity. Their forgiveness is incredible, and their capacity to love is remarkable. It brings me so much incredible joy to know that I was able to do something good and I didn't have to sit on the sidelines. Because of this rescue, we opened up a kennel barn in St. Louis, which is our 3rd location. It's now a home to so many more animals. So it changed my life, it changed the animals' lives, and it's changing people's lives every day.
Pretty powerful, huh? You need to hear anything else? Yeah, causes a tear to come to the heart, to the eye, yeah? Mm.
Very emotional, Maharaj. Very touching, really.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that out.
Shri Devi Mataji, please go ahead.
I've got timing to ask this question. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Gurudev. All glories to your holiness. Guru Maharaj, on this point of cows, I was listening very carefully to the class and suddenly I lost power. So I apologize for missing out on a little bit. I'll go back to the recording and hear it. But I wanted to just remind myself, most of all, but also share with everyone that in India, not so very long ago, every home kept a cow. If our grandparents, even our parents, they grew up with mother cow in the home. You know, the backyard always had a cow shed, cow barn, even one cow. Even the poorest family had just one cow and they would take care of mother cow. My mother recalls using the cow dung and, putting that cow dung plaster on the floor. And she said village life was so nice. So like this, even just 1 or 2 generations back, mother cow was just part of the home. So what a sea change has happened even in India with this Kali Yuga coming in, and how much it is important for us to give mother cow again that place in the home that is hers. Just wanted to share that very humbly, Gurudev. Thank you.
Well, the importance is obvious, but in India has been influenced by Western society, at least a certain sector of India, who have some political control. And so in order to catch up with the West, because catching up with the West means not necessarily only, or not only doing what the West is doing, but getting all of the same symptoms that the West gets from the same activities. So when you introduce Western culture, you would introduce this culture based on exploitation. That's what it is. It's based on exploitation of human resources, of humans, of animals. That's Western culture. So it's a very exploitive culture. And money is the common denominator which moves everything. So into India was, the West had tried to break India's culture for years. I played that video with Bhakti Swami Maharaj describing how I'll play it. Maybe we'll play it tomorrow. It's about 7 or 8 minutes. How he describes how when the British came to India, they saw how people were living so nicely. And they were thinking, how can we rule over these people? And what is about their society that makes them live so, amiable amongst each other? And so they did a little investigation. It was Lord Clive. He was the person who spearheaded this investigation. And after a long time, they found out, and they were told that it's because of protection of cows, everything is so, the society is working so nicely. So then the British got the idea, let's destroy the cows, and that way we'll destroy the culture. And they did. They started systematically killing the cows. And that's how they were able to rule India. They broke that, at least to some degree they broke it, not completely. But after that, then they started to try to introduce machines in place of bulls and cows to do the same thing. But that didn't fly with India. And so they were thinking, how can we break this Indian culture and make it like the West? And so these are demons, they have a demoniac mentality. So then they finally discovered the way to do it. Television. Television came in and changed everything around. Bollywood movies, television, Western entertainment programs, and that just gradually moved people towards a Western lifestyle, which included exploitation of animals. Fortunately, we have a good leader in India, Mr. Modi. He has outlawed cow killing in India. It's against the law to kill cows, but each state in India has its own sovereignty to decide for itself. So some states, they have outlawed cow killing, and other states in India, they haven't. So it's like that. But that's a little, excuse me, it's a little bit of the history. So they wanted to break the society. They started with breaking Brahminical culture by destroying cows and trying to remove cows as the foundation for agriculture, pushing people off the farms into the cities. And they made farming and village life a type of primitive thing that is something you can't live happily on. You're living in a very deficient scarcity. They made village life look like some kind of suffering. Lokanath Swami he did a video called Simple Village. And you can see that video is nice. He shows the value of village life, and he shows how things have changed. One of the highest suicide rates amongst a certain occupation is farmers. Farmers in India have the highest suicide rate. As they're being forced off their land and pushed into the cities. And farms are being turned into macro farms where it becomes a commercial industry for profit. Now, this is all the effects of Western demoniac society. There's a lot of information you can find in that regard. So, as I said, before you can establish spiritual culture, you have to establish cow protection. It goes together. Yeah, the Lost Village. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. The Lost Village. Yeah, post it for devotees to watch. It's worth watching.
Yes, Maharaj, I've already posted the link just before this text. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, if you have any last questions, comments, we are already 5 minutes over, but yes, Sakshi Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, I have a follow-up question. Just wanted to know, how do we bring about this village culture in this modern society?
Now, that is a very diverse question, and you'll get different answers. But generally, it starts with people who have that desire, that vision. You want to see a nice little movie. It's interesting. It's called The Biggest Little Farm. The Biggest Little Farm. It's on YouTube. And it's long. It's 2 hours and about 2 hours and a half, I think. It's about a group of people who got together to start a farm and all of the challenges they had to go through in order to develop it. And they went through a lot of challenges. But they did it. They stuck it out. And after 7 years of struggle, they turned a whole unfertile, hard ground, impossible to cultivate land into a flourishing farm. This was in Southern California. It's an interesting little video. It's called The Biggest Little Farm. I mean, their value system is a little different than ours, obviously, because it doesn't center around cows and spirituality, but it shows a little bit of the determination, the vision, the collective vision of a few people who were determined to make it work. So I don't think we'd have to struggle as hard as that to start a farm. But there is certain characteristics and certain qualifications to do it that needs to be in place in order for it to actually work. So, but it starts with the idea. That's the reason I put together that book, so people get an idea that this is what we should be doing. And the book is just a small amount of Srila Prabhupada's quotes. I have hundreds of Prabhupada's quotes. I only put about 10 or 15 in the book about simple living, back to the farm, cow protection, varnashram dharma, Prabhupada really spent a lot of time and also gave a lot of ideas on how we can move forward into a more village lifestyle, a simple lifestyle. So, yeah. Find some interested people, discuss it, and talk to people who are doing it, and go and live on a farm for a little while, get an idea what it's like. Come to, we have our Gita Nagari farm. We have our Govardhan Equi Village. Each one of them are not completely self-sufficient yet. They're all still working towards that goal. But Gita Nagari and Govardhan Equi Village, along with Shivaram Maharaj's project in New Rajadam, they all have cows, and cows are being taken care of really nicely.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
So there is one question from Scarlett Mataji in chat, that wonderful that it is law against killing cow. May I humbly ask why there is not the same law against other animal killing?
I'm not sure I understand.
I'm not sure when Mataji referring, Mataji, you are saying law, what exactly it means? Are you saying law or can you please clarify? Yeah, law, okay. But there is no law against killing cow. That's the whole problem.
Law, L-A-W.
Yeah.
Law.
I think her question is more that why we are so protective for cow compared to other animals, if I'm not wrong, Mataji, if I am summarizing correctly.
We're not protecting the cows. That's the. Mhm. But the cow is the most valuable animal for human society. Krishna's planet is called Goloka, planet of the cows. He's called Gopal, protector of the cows. He's called Govinda, one who gives pleasure to the cows. Everything about Krishna centers around cows. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is very inclined to take care of that. Of course, devotees, in principle, we don't want to see any living entities being exploited, no matter what animal it is. Every animal is a spirit soul. Every spirit soul has a right to live out their life according to God's arrangement for that living being. And anyone who interferes with that will get a reaction and have to suffer because of that. But there's no law to protect cows anywhere. We want to have a law. That would be nice if they had a law. We have it in India, yeah. Modi has made a law that cow killing is illegal, but still it goes on here in India very much.
Thanks, Maharaj. I hope it answers Mataji's question. So there is no further questions, Maharaj. It's already 30 minutes. With your permission, maybe if we can close the class today here.
Yeah. Mhm.
Srila Prabhupada, thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much again, to summarize and to give really I think it's a takeaway for all of us, how we can take care of cows, bulls, how we can develop Brahminical qualities. I think these are the two critical things which we all should take as a takeaway. So thank you, Maharaj. Thank you for your valuable time. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।
Jai.
Oh,
Thank you very much today.
Thank you.
Guru Maharaj
Thank
ki
you, Hare Krishna.
jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hey, Krishna.